Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Doctor Strange 2, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, also known as WandaVision Season 2, also known as America Chavez Season 1.
Yeah, I just call it Doctor Strange 2.
Doctor Strange 2, probably the easiest thing. We're going to talk about the second week box office drop. It was not good. In fact, it is the largest second week drop for a Marvel movie.
I don't know. I know it's pretty steep. I don't know if it's the largest, but it's a steep decline.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this. And we said during our review of this movie that once word got out that the movie, frankly, wasn't that good, that it wasn't really even a Doctor Strange movie so much as it was a WandaVision movie and an America Chavez movie, that people would probably tune out. And that's what's going on. And there really isn't a lot of competition this weekend either.
No. It was like Firestarter, which didn't do well anyway. And then like that Bad Guys show, maybe that's been out for a bit. And I don't think they're going to get much competition until Top Gun comes out. And that's like May 24th. So, but they weren't really having anything to fight against. And they still went,
Yeah, that's not good. Now, there was a lot of talk about Doctor Strange, making all kinds of bank last weekend, which we knew was going to happen because he gets, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, lots of cameos in the movie, but, I figured it would drop off. I honestly did not expect an over 80% drop off.
Well, that 80%, okay, well, there's a little misleading because it's 80% drop off if you compare Friday to Friday, but overall it's like 60-some percent.
That's not the worst, but it's for a Marvel movie, that's not great.
Yeah, it's not good. Not great. I mean, so far it's hit like 550 million worldwide, and I think that was like 9 days into it.
Yeah.
It hit that, which isn't bad, but it's, it's not another Spider-Man.
No, because if you want to compare, Spider-Man, was the #1 movie for weeks, and it
went up against stuff.
Yeah, and it was going up against some pretty big movies, and it was just a massive juggernaut. And I think this is kind of where the MCU peaked. I think and even that was more of a Sony thing, but I think it's gonna be downhill from here. That's my personal opinion.
It's gonna be all new characters and things like that, people are just gonna be like whatever, unless it's like Fantastic Four or something.
Well, I think the reason I have to wonder how they are tracking this one. I think the reason that they were making sure everybody knew that there were going to be all these cameos in it was to get people to come.
Whoops, slip up. I mean, someone happened to catch that. They leak stuff.
Yeah, they leaked stuff. And same with Spider-Man. They're like, oh, okay, everybody already knows all the Spider-Men are going to be in it, so let's just,
Oh, somebody who just happened to leak it. It's like, no, I think a lot of times they gauge interest, and interest seems to be waning. No, I don't think that's the case for Spider-Man, but it might have been for this one. And then, oh, yes, confirmed.
Confirmed. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 267, almost 268,000 subs. We're like 100 away. So if you could hit the subscribe button, please. Ring the bell for notifications. You want to make sure when you get quality content like this. Our hot takes, our very lukewarm takes on middling pop culture. That is what we do here. And also comic books and cartoons.
Yes.
Anyway, massive box office drop in the second week. According to Variety, you said it was a 67% drop off overall. Now, Friday to Friday, it was over 80%.
Right. And from Friday, they said from the opening Friday, I guess, until the Friday. But in the first opening, it was 90 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it dropped to 16.7.
Wow. Okay, so there's a couple things going on here. One, with Marvel movies, people tend to go early. They tend to go the preview.
But Spider-Man held on for a long time. Other films have done really well for prolonged weeks.
Also, good Marvel movies have repeat watchability. This movie was not one of those movies.
This movie was weird because it felt like there was parts of good movie in there.
Yeah.
But it was like too many different things going on. Like it did, like you keep saying, too many cooks in the kitchen. It felt like Raimi wanted to do one thing and people at Marvel wanted to do another thing, and then somebody else had another opinion. Apparently that really bad music fight sequence was actually
the dance
done.
Fight.
That was done in reshoots.
Oh my God, that's something I would have cut. I would have been like, this is effing lame.
I think they were so impressed with how clever they thought they were.
Yeah, now I don't know if that was a scene from one of the comic books or not.
It might have been.
But it doesn't work in live action. I mean, it really doesn't. And I'm like, they really should have stopped it. But yeah, Metacritic, middling, 66.3. And that's how I would describe this movie. It's a very middling movie. And I think if, Sam Raimi had been allowed to make the movie he wanted to make, that
different,
it would have been a different story. But again, this felt like there were mandates. Like, okay, well, we need to introduce, America Chavez, and make sure you get some cameos from these other, because we need to get the cameos in and make sure this happens and that happens. And
I don't think America Chavez did much. I think she was more like, people keep saying the MacGuffin, and I agree. That's mostly what she was there for.
Yeah.
They needed something to chase.
She was there to jump the border.
That's what people, that was the jokes from me on Twitter. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, basically that's what she was there for, because she could go between dimensions. They needed somebody in there. But basically, the movie was basically a vehicle to shove her in there. Let's be honest. But the character itself wasn't really, I don't think, a very big deal in the movie.
No, she was. I mean, yeah, she had a lot of screen time, but she didn't do much.
She was more of a thing than a person.
She was.
More of a power than a person.
I mean, it could have been, you could have replaced America Chavez with a device that allowed you to jump between dimensions.
Yeah, basically, it would have been the same thing, except didn't have two moms. Unless there was two female inventors. But,
two female inventors, yeah.
And another big problem that came upon this movie that Bob Chapek was leveraging is that it did not run in China. It did not run in Saudi Arabia, I think Egypt and Kuwait. And because of her two moms, but to be fair, they could have easily taken that scene out. It was not a big deal. But Disney's not going to dare do that, because in the past they've gotten called out for Black Lives Matter, but we're going to shrink or remove Finn from the poster for Star Wars, So they did not have the big box offices, which people have been telling them for a while now to stop pandering to China. And now that, it's Chapek and not Iger, they're going to try to do that. But they're like, look how good we did without China.
I mean, they were kind of forced into that position because, they wouldn't play Shang-Chi in China. They wouldn't play Eternals in China. And that's because the star of one and the director of another made some anti-CCP remarks.
Right.
So now they're probably like, well, let's just give up on China anyway.
See, but because Disney was pandering to them so hard. And that was under Iger because he wanted an ambassadorship to China.
Yeah.
Got a couple parks opened in China and everything else. And now that it's Chapek, they're starting to see that, hey, maybe it's not the best thing to do. And he was like leveraging that at the investor call, like, oh, look how well we're doing without China. Because someone asked him flat out, are they going to play in China? And we don't need China.
Yeah, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was all China, China, China.
Unheard of.
Chinese
no
box
China.
up. Yep. It was like, oh, let's rewrite the whole movie like Transformers movies. Like, oh, we have to have a big climactic fight scene in China for some reason with Chinese stars. Mm-hmm. We have to make sure we get a Chinese star in Rogue One just because.
Yeah, but that was an additive thing.
Yeah, that was.
I'm just gonna tell you flat out. That was like the best character.
He was good. But I'm just saying, like, you can see where they've tried to pander specifically to China, in a lot of these movies. And in this case, they're like, yeah, there's no way to, eke this by. But, according to Variety, I love this. So Comic Book Resources is like, yeah, it had a massive box office drop, but it's still doing okay, guys. It's all right. It's undoubtedly a major hit, crossing the 500 million mark in its first week worldwide. So they're not going to admit that this is actually kind of an L, because this shows that there is diminishing interest in the MCU, because normally people would go see this movie 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I think it's a, from a certain point of view type narrative.
Yeah, it's like the MCU is doing well from a certain point of view.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, compared to other movies that they've been doing, I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, no, and that's the thing.
It's dropping off a cliff. It's front loaded like The Last Jedi, and now it's like
and then we had the Eternals not do well, and so I don't know. I think Thor is going to be the same kind of thing. I think it's going to have a big first week because everybody's going to be like, oh, the new Marvel thing, and then at the second week they went like, oh, that sucks. Thor's not Thor anymore. It's girl Thor and her husband, who's also a girl and is king now. What's
or whatever. I'm not discounting. Was it Sif?
Yeah.
I'm not discounting that because we don't know what's happened with her. She's probably Queen Sif with the Valkyrie or something. You don't know. Or she ends up with Jane Foster.
Who knows?
You know which way this is going to go. Which is fine, except I don't think it's going to go where the audiences, the general mass appeal audiences are going to go along with.
So they're talking about, America Chavez being a poster child for LGBTQ plus representation.
It was
barely mentioned. She had a pride pin on her jacket, blink and you miss it. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, my mom's got sucked into a hole because I was afraid of a bee.
So there was Pinky Boo thought that was the dumbest thing ever. Wait, she opened a hole and sucked her mom's through a hole because she was scared of a bee.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, But it takes like being like, threat of death for her to open holes now.
Is she allergic to bees? Is that what?
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But it was very, very minor, and blink if you missed it. And they mostly refer to it as her parents.
That's why I thought they would cut that for China. Because then they could just have backstory and be like, oh, I accidentally killed my parents. Kind of like when they would, do the bad voiceovers and take out swear words on TV shows back in the 80s or movies back in the 80s.
Well, it wouldn't matter because it's going to be in Chinese. They can say whatever the hell they want it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I sucked my parents.
I sucked my parents.
I sucked my parents into a hole. My parents.
There's a joke about holes in her mom's, but that's another story entirely.
Black hole, son. So I don't know, guys. I, personally, my takeaway from this is I think the people that wanted to see it saw it first week. I think the general public is not watching these movies repeatedly again because they're already like, here's the next Marvel movie and the next Marvel show and the next Marvel this.
Another reason could be that some theaters are raising ticket prices as well.
Yeah.
Some places were like $13, $14 a ticket. And people are worried to spend money because there's the recession looming and things are going up. Like people can't find baby formula. They can't, they're all the food prices, even like at Aldi's and stuff, has gone up significantly. It's like, I don't think I'm going to have the money to take me and my, family of 4 at $14 a ticket to go to a movie, and then not counting food, to go to see this film. I'll just wait. If I wait 45 days, it'll probably be on demand.
Disney Plus. So you're giving them all kinds of ideas for excuses. And we know that
I'm sorry, but I think that might play into it.
The next earnings call, every one of those things you mentioned, Bob Chapek is going to steal and be like, it's the baby formula shortage.
It's Russia.
It's Russia.
Are they blaming baby formula in Russia too?
Russia.
It's all Russia.
There's
Russian
a lot
bots.
of babies in Russia.
It's Russian bots.
They're taking the formula, and Steve Colbert had COVID, so people are staying home. That's why our movies aren't doing
No,
good.
but at the end of the day, it's Russian bots.
Russian bots.
And Russian bots somehow purchased all the tickets, but didn't. No, that would give them money. That doesn't even make sense. But it doesn't have to make sense because it's Hollywood and Disney.
In the multiverse, it makes sense.
But yeah, I'm just saying. No, I think that probably did play into it. I know they raised prices. People were complaining about it. Some theaters, not all, but some theaters were raising prices significantly. Probably because Disney's taking a bigger cut.
You don't want to see these two things together. Massive box office drop, and Doctor Strange actor convicted on multiple counts of sex abuse.
Yeah, the thing is that's misleading too, because the person was like,
stunt.
I don't even think that she was credited. So it's like really, really, really pushy. There's an example right there, prime example of how you take something that's trending in the news, like Doctor Strange, and you use that keyword to try to leverage something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still shit that she did it though.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, are we gonna wrap this up?
Yes.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.